Well, hello, guys, and welcome to So What's Your Story? I am your host, LaQuita Parks, and I am the CEO and founder of Pay Pro V Publishing. And Pay Pro V means pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there is no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I help people take their stories from a thought to a realization. And wow, I am super excited for this project. I'm super excited to be here with the visionary for this new project called Dozing Through Life. It's all about narcolepsy awareness. So welcome, Desiree. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself, but how's it going? I love that Christmas tree, girl. Is a present up under there for me?
You.
Is there a present for me?
She wanted
All
to
right, girl. Ask your mama where my present. I hope I got a present with my name on it.
You gotta come to the girls' night.
Oh, wait, okay. We'll talk offline about the girls' night. Was there a present for me? That's all I want to know.
Of course.
Okay.
For everybody.
Okay, awesome. I love a good party with a good present for me. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd and tell us who you are.
Okay, I'm Desiree Williams. I am I'm a Navy veteran, a chef, and longtime child care provider. I have a son who's in the Navy as well. He's currently stationed in San Diego. And this is my second book. You helped me with my first one. This is my second one. I'm glad to be bringing it out.
Okay, awesome. Here's Myra, just came into the room. Myra is coming. She's coming in. I'll just let her in. There we go. Miss Myra, how are you? Miss Myra?
Just fine. How are you?
Good. Welcome.
Yes.
So we are. So this is the first anthology about narcolepsy, right? And so Desiree, give us some background about narcolepsy. And Miss Myra, we're going to mute you just temporarily, okay?
Basically, narcolepsy is a sleeping autoimmune disorder that affects the brain. It's when you have severe daytime sleepiness and you pretty much fall asleep constantly, all the time. And when you try to sleep at night, it's constantly interrupted, which causes the severe daytime sleepiness. So it impacts your brain because, your brain without sleep, everybody knows how you feel when you haven't gotten any sleep. But it is basically very, I don't know what word to even use, but it really changes your life. And I wanted to spread awareness about it because a lot of people don't realize there's a difference between narcolepsy, insomnia, and, other sleeping disorders. But there's no cure for narcolepsy. You can just maintain it really for the rest of your life by taking medicine during the day to stay awake, medicine to help you sleep through the night. And then there's also a thing called cataplexy, which is attached to narcolepsy. Now, everybody that has narcolepsy doesn't suffer from cataplexy. Cataplexy is a separate brain disorder where you don't get the hypocretin. You don't have enough hypocretin.
What's hypocretin?
Hypocretin is the chemical in your brain that keeps you on balance. So if we don't have enough hypocretin to balance our brain out, we kind of feel like, let's just say if you were inebriated or or drunk, you kind of feel off balance. Well, Cataplexy is driven by a sudden range of emotion. Like if I laugh suddenly at a joke or suddenly get angry about something, if something heightens my senses really quick, cataplexy can set in, and that's when my arms and legs can just give out. The muscle tone in your body gives out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
very
wow.
strange thing.
Wow. So, hi, Gentry, one of our favorites, our one of our frequent flyers, Carolyn Coleman, and then we have Jay Ritz, 67 High, and then Dylan Link. So, thank you so much for being here. So, Miss Myra, introduce yourself and tell us about your experience with narcolepsy. Can you hear Miss Myra?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Myra Cook, and I got diagnosed in 1975
Hmm.
with narcolepsy because I was working in an office and I was falling asleep regularly, which I didn't know I was really. I was, it was just, I still was doing what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found out I had narcolepsy, I told my parents. My daddy said, "Oh, I got that," and my daddy had it,
Oh,
but
wow.
nobody told him. They didn't. I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" Well, we just thought you was lazy.
Wow.
So I began to. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I
Mm-hmm.
began to tell everybody, especially at work, because they didn't want to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
And I started a support group. I put in a little ad in a local newspaper. Anyone with narcolepsy, cataplexy, get in touch with me.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised how many people got in touch with me. And this was before cell phones.
Mm.
And it was a lot of men got discharged from the army and everything. And it was just, I just started telling everybody.
Mm.
And if I got, just like she said about cataplexy, I would tell them that don't call no ambulance, don't call nobody, just wait till I calm down and I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and I'm 74 now. I've been dealing with it for a long time.
Wow. Wow. So let me ask a couple of questions. So this has been, and Desiree, I want to say thank you for trusting me to help you tell this story and to bring awareness to narcolepsy, and what the struggles are. And so when we met, I had no idea. I've heard of narcolepsy before, and I heard about it because there was a friend from church. Her son-in-law was dealing with falling asleep. He would fall asleep. He worked late and
Mm-hmm.
and fell asleep. And sometimes when people are falling asleep or not, the first thing you say is, "Oh, they're tired. They
Mm-hmm.
need to sleep or they need to get some rest, so they're not getting enough sleep." So when you hear about narcolepsy, all you know is that, okay, that's the sleeping disease. So I found out through you and through the stories that that you ladies have put together. I found out a lot. Now, why was it important? Because this book is Dozing Through Life,
Mm-hmm.
but you wanted it to be not so heavy, because there are some things that some stories are really heavy. And when
Mm-hmm.
you read books, and Miss Mara, you know that too. When you're reading something and it's heavy, it kind of pulls you down. But you didn't want that to be this book. You
Right.
wanted it to be you didn't want it to be heavy. You want it to be comical. You want it to be humorous while telling the story of your journey with narcolepsy. Why was it
Mhm.
important for you to not want it to be so heavy?
Basically because it is heavy. I mean, it's you just want to try to live as best as you can, have as many happy moments as you can, because of course anybody basically sleeping through life, we have things we want to do, trips we want to go on, people we want to see, careers we want to careers we want to
Things you want to achieve.
Right, achieve. And if you're asleep all the time, how can you do any of that?
Right.
So it causes
That's
depression.
true.
It causes you to feel like you're unworthy of anything. People don't understand how you feel. They think that you're lazy, that you just don't want to do anything because your body starts to shut down. Every time you turn around, you want to get up to do something, but your body is telling you, no, we got to stay in the bed. I'm tired.
Mhm.
Even if you
Yes.
haven't done anything all day. Some people can get up with the narcolepsy and they can function. They can go to a job, clock in, and do a few hours or 8 hours and be okay, on medication. But there's a lot of different levels to narcolepsy. Mine happens to be really severe. I can't just get up and go to work and clock in on somebody's job because I won't make it a third, through the day. I'm ready to go to the break room and go to sleep. And then at night when it's time to go to sleep, you would think, as tired as we were, we'd sleep all through the night, but no, sleep is constantly interrupted, which causes you to not really get any sleep at night. So then when it's time to wake up during the morning, you found you haven't gotten any sleep, and then boom, you're just there barely trying to function. And so think about all the health issues that come with no sleeping. You start to suffer all that as well.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what percentage of people, because that's something that's not talked about. So I have multiple, connective tissue issues. And so, you hear about lupus, you hear about heart disease, you hear about diabetes, you hear about high blood pressure and all that, but you don't hear a whole lot about narcolepsy. So what percentage, and Miss Myra, you've been dealing with it, you said since 1975. You said you were diagnosed in 1975.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so what percentage, of people do you think suffers from narcolepsy? Do you know, or can you kind of guess?
I think about maybe 30 to 40%.
Wow.
Yeah, 'cause it's a lot.
And that is a lot. And a lot of people aren't even diagnosed. They have no idea that's what they suffer from. Because like I said, narcolepsy mimics itself as other things. Just plain old insomnia. I can't remember the term for people who work nighttime jobs. They work the graveyard shift all the time. Yeah. So lupus, like you said, it's so many other things out there that people think that they might have, and they have narcolepsy and they don't even realize it. They don't realize it until damaging things start to happen. They might have car accidents. They'll fall asleep at the wrong time somewhere, and something bad will happen. And then that's when you have to get a sleep study, actually go for a sleep study to be diagnosed. And then it's not just a plain sleep study where you go at night and they watch you sleep, but you also have to stay that morning, that afternoon, and let them watch you sleep, Yeah. So they run a lot of tests. There's a lot of people running around that aren't even diagnosed. They don't even realize that's what they have.
Yeah, I got two here. I got two children that won't go, and they've been having it, but my son said, I don't have time for that. I did. Well, you driving, and you got, and he just he would get his friend when he was growing up. When his friends, they used to tell me, Miss Cook, when Chris get to the red light, he goes straight to sleep. And when the light turn green, we have to say, man, wake up. And then he'll wake up, keep on going. But, they grown now. I can't tell them. I try to tell them, you need to go get tested. No, Mama, I ain't got that. I ain't got that, so.
Oh, wow.
So
I was getting ready to say, so it's like a stigma with anything else, and then what they say is a lot of times men won't go to the doctor. So is it hereditary though? Can it be hereditary?
Yes, I got mine from my daddy.
Wow.
They say it can be hereditary. I don't know anybody in my family that has it, but I didn't know my father either, or his side of the family, and he was adopted. So it's possible, very possible, I got it from somebody on his side of the family.
Okay. So tell me, so Miss Myra, let's talk about you. So when in putting these stories together, and there are other women that are in this book, and they couldn't be here today, but when I was reading the stories, one of my favorite, all of them are really good, but one of my favorite stories was yours, Miss Myra. And and you know, it's I like I like it's humor. It's humorous, but it's serious. I love the part, and it stands out to me when you talk about the medicine, and you talk about, you know, the medicine making you hungry, and so there are side effects for everything, so I relate to that. But you talk about the medicine make you hungry. You get up through the night, you hungry, so you go and fix something to eat, and then you take it back to the bed, and before you can eat it, you fall asleep, and the food's all over you. How often? And I found it funny because you talk about making some chili, and you know, you took the chili back and you sat down and you fell asleep, and as you were trying to clean the chili up, you fell asleep again. So you just pushed the chili over and just lay down and went to sleep. On
Right.
top of
Well,
the bed, on top, you
I
just
put
skip
a
something
towel
now.
over the bed. I put the towel over the bed and
Mm.
just went up back to sleep because I was dizzy too. The
Wow.
medicine made you dizzy. So
Yeah.
and I would just waste it all on me. And even if I wanted a bowl of cereal, so now what I do is I put my finger in the cold milk. So when it tilted a little bit, it'll wake me up.
I was like, wow, you know, people, and these are stories. These are relatable stories because so I don't have narcolepsy, and but I have some other stuff that makes you, you know, that makes the, you know, adds to depression, and you go through a lot with it. But I like the fact that you share. So for me, sharing, if I'm not sharing, then how am I able to get the word out? And like you said, there are people who won't share, who won't say, well, they don't want to go to the doctor because there's still a stigma on so much.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah.
you said,
Mhm.
Miss Myra, you told the story also about being at work, or applying for a job, and like, okay, I need to tell them, you know, what's going on. And when you did, it changed the whole scope of the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
it
so
did.
that stigma, there's a stigma. So how do you what are some things that you do now, Miss Myra, to function with the narcolepsy and work? Because you still work, or you retired?
I still work.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop.
Okay.
But what I do, see, I catch the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now when I first started having narcolepsy, I wouldn't tell nobody. I
Mm-hmm.
just get on the bus and then go to sleep, and then all of a sudden I wake up, and especially if I'm sitting next to somebody, I say, "Will you ring the bell?"
Mm-hmm.
And they will ring the bell, and I get off, or just as soon as I'm asleep now. And just as soon as he passed my stop, I know exactly that he passed my stop. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to walk back or catch a cab back or have somebody come and get me. So I started telling the bus drivers, I said, look, I have a sleep disorder.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to sleep and you get to such stop, please
Wake me
wake
up.
me up.
Mm-hmm.
Because, pride will kill you.
Yes.
And I got tired of walking back late at night trying to get home or calling somebody, can you come and get me? And
Mm-hmm.
because I done missed my stop. But what I do is now I'll sleep on the bus and I'll wake up every now and then and peep and see where I am. And we ain't got close, and I'll go back to sleep. Or that's what I do. I just take a nap where I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, see, I work in the fitting room. Now, if I get real sleepy, I get to stumbling, and I have to tell myself, "Look, I got to take a break." And so I take that little 15 minutes, and I tell the girl who relieving me, "Okay, if I'm not back in 15 minutes, don't yell, don't holler, just say Miss Myra, and I will hear you because I have my headset on, and I
Mm-hmm.
wake up." Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the one thing I hate for somebody to say, Myra, wake up, so they can get a laugh and stuff, that kind of stuff. I had to tell one girl, I said, if you ever do that again, I will hit you. She said, you will hit me? I said, I sure will. You doing it to get so you can get a laugh. These folks know I
Yeah.
sleep,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but,
Mm-hmm.
but that I just sleep where I can.
Okay. So, Miss Myra, I love you. I love you. You know I do. Um, so let's talk about there are several people in this project, Mindy, and they're not here, Ashley and Kat. And I love one of the things that with Kat's story, in her story, she talked about going through the process of being diagnosed. And Desiree, you said it. It's and you too, Myra. It's always a misdiagnosis because it can mimic something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so in Kat's story, she tells the story of, going through and having, having all these issues, and then having doctors to say, no, 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 that's not what it is. So she tells a story about having a doctor to her regular doctor to say, no, 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 that's not it. But she was referred, and he was like, well, that's not what it's going to be. But she had the good sense to ask the people doing the testing to send her a copy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the doctor got the copy, he was like, oh, it's negative, just like I thought. But when she got the copy that they sent her, it said something totally different. So does that happen a lot? And I know it happens a lot for other things, where the doctors are saying, you're explaining to them how you're feeling, what you're going through, and they're minimizing it and telling you, well, no, it's not that, either because they don't want to do the work, or they don't want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to make a wrong diagnosis. So Desiree, share what it was like, that journey to you having the symptoms, and you probably having them for a very long time. What led you to, going to get checked, and then how was it when they said, okay, this is what you have? Did you, and that this is for both of you, was it like, okay, a relief, now I have some answers, or was it like a denial?
No, I was actually relieved, because the cataplexy part is what was really messing me up. Getting the loss of muscle function in my legs and arms, and I'm like, why am I feeling paralyzed, or why does my muscles give out every time I laugh, or every time I get upset about something? I knew that wasn't normal, but I didn't know the two were related, because narcolepsy is just, you're not getting any sleep, you're tired all the time. Well, it was always something to blame it on. When I was pregnant, they was blaming it on having a baby, or being pregnant, or being anemic, or things. Before that, it was, being in the military, just working long hours, things. It was always something to blame my, being tired about. So the cataplexy is what really got me. And I finally, I think I just kept going to the doctor, and kept going. And finally, I guess my file appeared as a red flag on someone in the sleep clinic, because they called me and told me, well, you know what, I think I might be able to help you, figure out what's wrong with you. But before that, I called my best friend, and I asked her, because she's a nurse, and I said, what do you think I can do about, trying to figure out what's going on? Because I've been going to the doctor for years, and I mentioned part of this in the book. She told me to go online and just look at some of the symptoms, just maybe to pinpoint, maybe not exactly what's going on, or maybe, narrow it down. And I actually pulled up with narcolepsy with cataplexy as one of the things. And I printed it out, and I took it to the doctor, and he shut me down. He was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just depressed. I said, no, I'm depressed because I can't sleep. And I need to know what's causing that, what's also causing the muscle weakness. But he was very just a terrible bedside manner. Didn't want to talk to me about it at all. Didn't even want to look at the paperwork that I showed him. And I left out of that office crying. And I was like, I know this is probably what I have. So when I finally went to the sleep doctor, who called me, and I showed her the paperwork, and because she told me, she said, I think you have what's called narcolepsy with cataplexy. And I was like, I knew it. And I showed her the paperwork, and she was like, yeah. She was like, so, nobody was able to help you all this time? I said, they didn't even want to believe that's what I had. Nobody's ever heard of it.
That's right. That's true.
How about yours? How about your journey, Miss Myra? And it was so long ago with you and Desiree, so we were children.
Yeah.
How long? Yeah,
1975.
Yeah. So I was 3 when you were diagnosed.
Oh Lord. But it was I used to fall asleep. Now my two girlfriends that grew up with, after I found out I had narcolepsy, I said, "Did y'all know? Did I fall asleep at y'all house?" I mean, when I was with y'all, they said, "Oh yeah, we used to come over your house just to see if you were asleep." And back then it was records. We used to sit at each other's house and play records, and I would go to sleep.
Mm.
But I slept, and I couldn't understand what is going on or why I was so tired all the time. And I got pregnant, and I had to find a doctor because I was taking Ritalin at the time. That's you could buy that drug off the street. And
Mm.
so I found the doctor, and he worked with me with it because he had patients with narcolepsy, and I said, "Really?" And so it got to the point where I needed to know everything. I would go to our main hospital, and I'd be in their library. And because I need to know what's going on with me. Because if it's hereditary, that means that my children can get it.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
But my daddy, he was asleep and everything. But my dad had REM sleep behavior
Mhm.
because he would act out his dreams.
Yep.
I mean, he would cuss like a sailor and don't remember nothing.
Oh wow.
He'd be fighting, and my children got to the point where they were scared to be
Mm.
around him.
Mm.
But I made sure that I wasn't gonna let my narcolepsy define me. I would tell everybody. I
Mm.
said, "Look, if I go to sleep, I still hear what's going on. Just
Mm.
keep talking. I still hear."
Mhm.
Mm.
But just don't holler out, Myra, wake up.
Just don't
Mhm.
scream.
And when I was going to night school, and I took all the information to the teacher, and I told her, I said, "I might go to sleep, but please do not holler, Myra, wake up, because I still hear what you say.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I don't know how that worked, but I could still, hear what's going on around me." But I just made sure that wherever I went, somebody knew I had narcolepsy. And
Mhm.
if I fall asleep, wake me up or whatever. And then, I used to read books. I made sure. And one girl that was in my support group, she said, "How do you read and then work two jobs to go? And I can't even work one." I said, "Well, I just forced myself to do it.
Mhm.
I forced myself to do what I need to do."
Mhm.
But I'm gonna tell. And one girl told me, she said, "Oh, I thought you was just saying something to be saying something. I didn't to get attention. I didn't know you really had that." I
Yeah.
said, "Girl, I would
Why
wish
would
this
you
on
say
nobody,
nobody? Right. And
nobody."
and so that's the thing. You go through things. Sometimes people look at you, and so like people can look at me and say, okay, she's fine. They have no idea what I go through on a daily basis.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
people assume, because there are different people. There are people who will, there are some people who have things and they'll go through it and they will succumb to it. And when I say succumb to it, I don't mean necessarily die, but I mean they let it define them. Like Mara, you
Mhm.
said, you're not going to let narcolepsy define you. And some people,
Mm-mm.
no matter what it is, they let it define them. But I
Mhm.
want to ask, because some of the ladies talked about nightmares, and
Oh God.
so tell me about these nightmares and how it's related. And some of the nightmares got a little dark. They got
Mhm.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
so
Yes.
can you guys share with me about your nightmares, or give an example if you remember, if it's not too deep to share.
You don't forget those.
Yeah. I had a particular nightmare. I guess it was a nightmare during the daytime because you can fall asleep anytime. But
Mhm.
I had
Hmm.
just came home from grocery shopping, and I was so tired because I felt a sleep attack coming on. You know, I
Mhm.
knew that, okay, my narcolepsy's kicking in. I feel like I'm going to go to sleep. I said, well, I can't put these groceries up right now. I'm just going to sit them on the floor. I'm going to run to the couch, and I'm going to take me a quick 5-10 minute nap. And as soon as I wake up
Mhm.
and I'm refreshed, I can put the groceries away and everything will be fine. Well, left my keys in the door. And I said, oh, I got to get my keys out of the door, because if I don't, somebody could walk by and come in and rob me or kill me or anything. So, yeah, so I went to sleep with that on my mind. I never took the keys out the door because I was so tired and foggy. It hit me just that fast. All I can remember is getting to the couch and sitting down. Well, next thing you know, it was a guy coming in the house dressed in all black. He was like, I'm going to rob you. And I was like, please don't kill me. I have a child upstairs asleep. And my son wasn't even there. And but this is what I was telling him, you know. And he was like, as long as you cooperate and you don't get up and you don't move, I'm just going to take what I want. And I was like, take what you want. I don't care. Just take it and go. And I was like, please just don't hurt me. And so he took the TV off the wall and grabbed some nearby stuff and went through my purse and then left, you know. And I just remember sitting on a chair just petrified. I was frozen because I was like, I almost, you know, died. Somebody came in here and robbed me. I'm like, it's all because I left those keys in the door. And so when I finally came out of what we call the what do they call them? They call them nightmares, but it's another word for them. But anyway, when I finally came out of that spell, I actually realized none of that stuff took place.
Oh,
I
wow.
had fell asleep in a chair, and I woke up. The TV was still on the wall. My purse was still sitting beside me. The door was open with the keys in there. But going to sleep with that thought on my mind about what could happen if I leave my keys in the door, I imparted that into a dream and
Wow.
actually acted it out, you know.
Wow. So
So
the door was still open?
yeah, door was still open and everything.
Wow.
You know, but just
Wow.
that thought of, I got to get the keys out of the door because somebody could come in here and attack me or rob me. I went to sleep with that on my mind. So it actually acted itself out in a dream. So I have to be very careful what I watch on TV when it's time to go to bed, because
Yeah.
anything that I'm thinking about, that will place itself into my dream, and you can't tell me it's not real, because
Wow.
I'll actually start to see things, you know, hallucinate.
Mhm.
And it can be
Yeah.
very dangerous.
Oh,
It can be
God.
very dangerous. Very
Wow.
scary. Yeah. They're
Wow.
called night terrors. That's what they
Night
call them.
terrors. Night
Yeah.
terrors. I think
And
somebody mentioned.
medicine for
Yeah.
that. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Wow. Miss Mara, what
It
about you?
is.
Can you share? Can you share?
Okay, I would dream when I was little. I always feel like somebody was standing over me,
Mhm.
and I would not come out from under those covers for nothing because I might see something, and I don't know what. And then I would have this same recurring dream. I'd be in the house, and it'd be dogs out around the house. They wouldn't let nobody in, wouldn't let nobody out. That just freaked me out so bad. It was, I mean, you get some crazy dreams that would scare you so bad you don't even want to get up.
Right.
Wow.
And it's just, you know. And one night, this was in '78. My son had just turned 1. And and that Saturday night, it was December. It was getting ready to go to the new year. And I had this dream, and it was the Lord telling me, you need to go get saved. Take your children and go get saved. And, you know, it was so real. So when I got to church and they had that invitation, me and my children went up there. My mom said, where you going? You already a member of the church. I said, I don't care. The Lord told me to get saved, and I'm going do what he say. But you know, you get those dreams that is so real,
Mhm.
and that some of them be so scary
Mhm.
too, that you don't believe, and you don't want to tell nobody because they think you're crazy.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So if you guys, how so you guys have both had narcolepsy for a long time. how do you and Miss Myra, you said that you started a support group, and Desiree, you're doing a lot too, in with support groups too. But
Mhm.
how do you guys advocate for yourselves and for other people?
You have to talk up for yourself.
You
I
do.
mean, you have to, cause they would dismiss you in a minute
Hmm.
that you just being lazy and that you didn't get no sleep, especially if you're married. They
Yep.
think you're staying up all night, and so you just have and you have to tell them. I was at this church visiting, and my daughter went to sleep, and the pastor came out of the pulpit. Wake that girl, wake her up. She need to hear this. Wake her up.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh, no, he didn't. And
Wow.
my son thought they was talking about me. He was talking about me. I said, no, he wasn't talking to me. I didn't go to sleep. But after church, I went up to that pastor and I told him, you were wrong. You don't single out somebody that's visiting your church just because they sleep. You don't know what
Right.
Hmm.
disorder they got. I said, we have sleep disorder in our family. You don't go, and I mean, the whole church just turned and looked at her and
Mm.
stuff like that. And my daughter said, Mom, you shouldn't have said nothing. You should. No, yes, you should.
Hmm.
You have to tell people and, advocate for yourself. You
Right.
Hmm.
and me, I would tell you in a minute, I have narcolepsy. And if I do such thing, I say, just look over me. I will that automatic behavior. I don't know how that worked, but I was in the files one day filing. I was at my desk putting claim forms in order. When I woke up, this girl said, Mara, what you doing? I'm sitting on a stool and I looked up, I said, I don't know. And I thought, oh Lord, I done messed up. I went back through them files. Everything was right.
Mm.
And I thought, now how is that? It's just certain stuff with narcolepsy that you just don't understand and you can't explain it.
Right.
How it works. Cause it's just I could be asleep and then just all of a sudden I wake up and I'm ready to get off the bus. And I'm like, this don't even make sense, just stuff like that. And it's I just
Wow.
try. I just tell everybody, and my mama she couldn't understand why I need to tell
Right.
people.
Yep.
She could
And
not
you know what?
understand.
And
Yeah.
I can see that because there are people, and even now, people will say, I just don't. I had this lady one day say to me, you help people tell their stories or write books, and I said, I do. Well, I don't see. I just can't see how people would just tell their business, because I can't see telling my business. I said, well, that's your choice.
Hmm.
But if you never tell people what's going on, there's somebody who's going through what you've been through.
Hmm.
And the only
Yeah.
way that they may not even feel, they may be on the edge of of ending it all because they can't get through it. But then if you're sharing your story, then they know, oh wow, if she can do it, if she can go through it, I can too. And it may be something that's undiagnosed and they have no clue what it is. And you can
Yeah.
recognize that, hey, you know what? Have you ever considered this? Well, if you never share, the only stories we cannot heal from are the ones we don't share. And
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
with that, Desiree, how do you advocate for yourself? And then I want both of you guys to tell me what the support look like for you. Are you getting, what does the family say? What's your circle say? And so, and I know both of you guys, but support is very important.
Hmm.
And Desiree, you know me a little bit more than you Myra. But I have a really, really strong support circle. And so it's important when you're going through things. So how does that look? And so, Desiree, tell me, how does that support look, and how do you advocate and just keep it together in the midst of whatever is going on, and when you have a sleep spell? I think that's what you said, when you have a sleep
Hmm.
spell.
Hmm.
Well,
I know I put you on
Oh
the
no.
spot. That's me. I do that.
It's kind of it's hard. It's still hard after all this time living with it. I still have family members that don't believe that it's real, that it's what I say it is. It's as severe as what I say it is. um they still wonder, why can't I just go out and get a job, and why am I settling for the bare minimum of like the money that I have now, because I'm on disability, when I'm always doing things to try to make money, and I still have that thing, from certain people. Why do you have to tell everybody you have narcolepsy? And I feel like it's important for people to know, because if I'm around you and something happens,
Yes.
have to be made. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And sometimes it's not as serious as people think it is. Like when I have a sleep attack. Well, cataplexy attacks are totally different. From another person looking at you, it looks like you're having a stroke. That's what I've been told from certain people. So I can let them know, hey, if I have a cataplexy attack, this is what it looks like. This is what I may do. Just understand, I'm not having a stroke. I just need a few minutes to come out of it. Just leave me alone. And it's really gonna be okay. But it's hard because as far as support, I have a few main people in my life that support me, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot, and I feel very depressed a lot of the time, and that's what I'm working through now. And I've lost a lot of relationships because of it. It's I don't know. I really don't know else how to describe it, because people, like I said, people think you lie about everything. People think that you're lazy, you're this, you're that. And when you try to, I have a bad habit of trying to explain myself all the time to, I over explain, because I want people to understand, no, I'm not lying. This is what happened. This is what I'm going through, whatever. And you're just going to have people who are determined to think the worst of you.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I've lost a lot of important people in my life because of it. And that's another thing you have to deal with. Some people just don't want to be a part of your life anymore. And, with or without explanation, you have to know how to deal with that. You have to be okay with it. So,
Well, somebody very nice 7704 says, love you, Des.
Oh, love you too.
So whoever that is, somebody loves you. Somebody else says, I always believed you, cuz Des.
Yes, that's my cousin.
Very
that's my
good.
cousin.
Very
Yep,
nice.
she's always believed. Yeah. Yep.
And it's difficult, because when you're going through things and you have a lot of you don't have that support. It's one thing to not have support. It's another thing to be going through something and have somebody to not believe you. That hurts even worse, and simply don't believe you, because the things that you go through can be unbelievable. But
that's true.
Yeah, when you know the person, because when you think about it, I've had nightmares that seem real. I've had dreams that seem real. So anybody can have those. But the fact that me, this is what I'm going through, then why think I'm lying? And so when you so how does stress play a role? Because I know with me, I have lupus, and so I know when I'm stressed, my body goes into a flare.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time for me to bounce back from it. So how does stress affect narcolepsy?
I go straight to sleep.
Yeah.
No matter what. It puts me out like a light. And that's why I try not to get stressed, because that's the first thing. Next thing you know, I'm out.
Yep.
And I hate that too. But when I used to try to whoop my children, and that cataplexy kick in, that's the end of that. That's the end of that. They know they ain't getting nowhere, because I can't even hold the strap or the belt or whatever, because I just it's just there. But my friends. Well, I got one good friend that we've been knowing each other for over 50 years. We've been, we was high school friends. Now we go everywhere together. She know we might be in a conversation, while she driving, because I don't drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get silent, she know I'm asleep, and she'll just wait till I wake up and carry that conversation right back in. And and she know, and she expect, because she will expect me to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then some. And when I was married, my husband used to say, "I'm put you in the back seat. Okay, you gotta stay awake." Now, okay, that was the worst thing that you could do, was put me in the back seat. I'm
Okay.
struggling, trying to stay awake, and it's just no good.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
know, the more I struggle, the worse it got. And so, but just my family, they understand. My kids, they know. My grandchildren began to know, because I had to do a lot of whooping. Don't ask me nothing while I'm asleep, 'cause I'm gonna tell you yes.
And they took it
And
very.
they found out. Don't ask grandma nothing while she sleep,
Mm-hmm.
because you gonna get a whoop. Yes, I sure am. Because I don't remember even saying nothing to seeing you. But
Mm-hmm.
your eyes was open. You was talking to me. That don't mean nothing.
So, Miss Myra, did you find it? Was it easier because there was a history of it in your family? Was it easy for your family to understand and accept it? Then
No.
Desiree, okay, I was wondering because your dad had it, but I was wondering if it was easier because they were familiar, maybe, than with Desiree, who where did it come from? So I was wondering if it was easier. Your cousin Desiree said, "Don't know why people find it hard to believe people are going through this."
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would never
I'm just
take
saying.
anybody's illness, whatever you going through, whatever you tell me you're going through. I
Mhm.
believe you. I will never take. I don't even remember what life was like before narcolepsy. I can't
Do
Thank
even
you?
you.
remember.
So
I
Desiree,
know.
do you
I
know?
know.
Do you know who this person is? Kyle Williams,
That's
9620.
my son.
He said,
Hi.
"I'm here,
He's,
Chef Des."
oh,
Hey, Kyle, that's so
he's in
sweet.
San Diego. That's my
That's so
Navy.
sweet.
Yeah,
That's
he's
so
in the Navy.
sweet.
He's in San Diego.
But
So,
you just you try to tell people, and they just look at you like you're crazy. And
mhm.
you just fall asleep. Let me see you go to sleep. That kind of stuff.
And
Like
what's
it's a
the
joke.
famous
Like
thing
it's
when
a
you?
joke.
just like you could
Mhm,
just
mhm.
drop
Oh,
off
and
at
you know what?
the.
I've gotten so sensitive over the years about my narcolepsy because I've been made fun of so much and it has done so many bad things to my body. It's like I can't even see the humor in it anymore. And that was
Mhm.
one of the reasons why I wanted this book to be a little bit lighter
Mhm.
because I knew I had a lot of dark things to add, but I
Mhm.
wanted some
Mhm.
humor to it as well. So I'm thankful for your story, Miss Myra, and some of the other things that people have said because I don't really have a whole lot of experiences that I can laugh about. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
Yeah,
people don't realize, even when I tell them my narcolepsy, for me, it's nothing to laugh at. It's nothing to make jokes about. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
I
try
know.
to understand other people's point of view because they don't know what it feels like. And sometimes they're trying to make light of it because they don't want you to feel bad. They don't want me to feel bad. But when I blatantly tell you, please do not make fun of my narcolepsy, don't make snide comments or jokes, and they do it anyway, then I'm like, okay, you're trying to hurt me. And then that just makes me feel worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's already
Uh-huh.
a stigma attached to it if you fall asleep anywhere. That's the only thing people say to you. First thing they say to you when they talk to you is, hey, are you asleep? Or hey, was you sleep?
Yes.
You know?
Uh-huh.
But
Yes.
I'm trying to understand
That
because
makes me mad. No, I am not asleep. I
right.
mean, that really makes you mad when they every time they look at you. You sleep?
Right.
You
When they
sleep?
call you on the phone, what's the first thing they say? Was you sleep? I'm like, no, I don't sleep all the time. Well, yeah, I do, but I'm not. Okay.
Yeah.
Miss Myra, every night 7704 said, "I want to meet Miss Myra and give her a big hug."
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So as we, this is a really, really great discussion, but I want to ask you guys, what would you, if you had to speak to, if let me change that. So from this book, Dozing Through Life, um, Miss Myra, what's the one thing you want people to get from your story?
that no matter what you're going through,
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Miss Myra. Francine Williams. You know who this is?
That's my
Francine Williams,
mom. Hey,
2510.
mom.
She said, I hear you, Des. Hey, Miss Francine. Said, I hear you, Des. All right now. Go ahead, Miss Myra. I'm sorry.
it, it's just another disease. I mean, yeah, it might be unusual, but I just want you to know that you can survive.
Mm-hmm.
I have. You just have to put your mindset to the fact that this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna let it get me down because it has gotten me down a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I have to be strong. I had children, so I had to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And but I just try not to let it affect too much of my life because it can't. Just like you said, you get depressed because I don't want to go certain places. I know I'm gonna go to sleep,
Right.
and then you sitting there sleep. That kind of stuff. But I just want people to know that you can live a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to pick your battles
Mm.
where you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
and when you getting sleepy, okay, it's time to go
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of just sitting there going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want people to know that we are normal.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing out of the ordinary. And then if you talk about us while we sleep, I can still hear you.
So go ahead. Don't think you sneaking because I can see. I love you, Miss Myra. And that's this the humor part is important because like I said, it gets to be so heavy with everything that you're going through, the nightmares, and it seems like and I can relate. You have so many intentions. I get up every day saying I'm going to the pool,
Mm-hmm.
and I had made it there this week because life has been life, and then the body hasn't been cooperating. So it's
Mhm.
like I get that. It's like you have intentions, you want to do things, and then before you know it, you've fallen asleep and you've missed something, but you can't help
Yeah.
it. Can't help it. So Desiree, what is it you want as the visionary for this project? The visionary for this project, you drive the energy for it, and you drive
Mm-hmm.
the focus. So what do you want to people to get? What do you want people to get from your story? What difference do you want your story to make?
I just want people to become more aware to, we have Google, we have all these different things that we can use to look up things. If you don't know what something is, look it up.
Mhm.
People need
Yeah.
to more understanding of what other people are going through. You never know when you might be somebody's last straw. You know what I mean? You might be
Yeah.
the last person they come in contact with before they're ready to do something very desperate, um,
Mhm.
besides that, I want people, especially, and I want people in the healthcare industry as well to understand, you don't know everything. That's why they call it practicing medicine, because every day we're learning new things. So
Yeah.
don't dismiss people when they come into your office and make them feel like they don't know anything. They're just making things up. Listen to people when they come in and talk to you, even if you're not in the healthcare industry. If you have a friend or someone that just, people just need people to talk to. And I understand
Yeah.
in the world you can't talk to everybody all the time, but
Yeah. It's
find that
true.
one person, find those people that want to listen to you. That don't
Mhm.
mind giving you 7 minutes of their time and saying, "Hey, are you okay? What are you going through?" We talk to each other all the time and we say, "Hey, how you doing?" But we just use it as a term of, like a greeting. We don't really want to know how somebody's doing most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. It's true.
We're just speaking. But
Mhm.
think about it. When you say, "Hey, how you doing?" It might be that one person that comes to you and say, "Well, actually," and then they
Right.
tell you. You know what I mean? So
Right.
sometimes just take a minute to listen to somebody when they're explaining to you how they feel, because you might be that one person that will keep them here just another day longer to deal with whatever it is they're dealing with. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
so
I
It's
love
true.
self
that.
awareness is very important to me. I want
Mhm.
I want more people to know, not just about narcolepsy with cataplexy, but just being having a illness or autoimmune disease in general.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
time to educate yourself and
Yeah.
have some more understanding. We don't have enough understanding in this world. This world is so cruel and it's gotten so so bad. So we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, what can I do to help somebody else, or to be more understanding today about what somebody else may be going through? Because you never know when it might be you that needs that understanding.
Yeah. I love who Cheryl Scheidler.
Yes, that's my soror.
Oh, she
Hello,
said, I've learned a lot. Thank you all. At Desiree, I got you, sis.
Oh,
So
thank
you got support. There's that support. I love that.
Yes.
I want to share this about the book, Dozing Through Life. So for you all who are listening and who will go back and listen to the replay on YouTube, it's being streamed. We're being streamed live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And so if you're listening or you're going to go back and listen to the replay, do your research. Find out more about what narcolepsy is. Share this information. The book will be coming out soon. Share the book because there are so many people struggling. And Desiree and Myra, I thank you guys so much for being so candid and so open and so transparent to share your story, because there are a lot of people who don't understand. There are a lot of people who are going through things right now and they're being closed mouth. It's the holidays are coming. People are depressed. The economy is going the way the economy is going, and there are people who don't know what they want, what to do. So put that on top of an illness or an ailment that you may not have even been diagnosed with, and you have no clue. You might think you're losing your mind, but you're not. So there's help, there are answers. And I like that, there are so many things. There's Google. I said the Google. There's the Google. There is no reason why we should not be aware of things. So, do your research. But I want to share this about this anthology. The anthology is called Dozing Through Life, a memoir of naps, misunderstandings, and narcoleptic humor. What happens when life keeps waking you up, but your body just won't stay awake? Dozing Through Life is a powerful and often humorous anthology that shines a much needed light on narcolepsy, a misunderstood sleep disorder that affects millions, yet is rarely spoken about. Through heartless stories, raw confessions, and moments of laughter, the authors invite readers into their world, a world where falling asleep isn't laziness, it's life. Each chapter takes you on a deeply personal journey of naps, misunderstandings, and resilience. From navigating relationships and careers to confronting stigmas and self-doubt, these storytellers reveal the strength it takes to live authentically while the world misunderstands their struggle. But this isn't just a book about sleep. It's about awakening to self-acceptance, awareness to purpose, awakening to the realization that our limitations don't define us, they refine us. With humor, hope, and honesty, Dozing Through Life brings awareness to narcolepsy while celebrating the courage to dream big, even when you keep dozing off. So this book is the visionary for this project is Desiree Williams. I am so very, very proud of you. And I'm Dr. LaQuita Parks. I'm the publisher of this project. And so Desiree, I want to tell you, thank you for trusting me to help you take your story from a thought to a realization, because there are certain subjects that you got to put kid gloves on. There have been some heartaches and pains through this process.
Yes.
There have been some struggles. there have been some setbacks, and honestly, it might feel like there have been some setups to do some setbacks.
Right.
But I do believe that all things work in God's timing. So when the book comes out, the book will be ready to come out.
Absolutely.
So these women tell their stories. They come from all different walks of life, and they have been brave enough to share their story. So Desiree, thank you for being the leader on this, and thank you for trusting me to help you navigate these rough waters sometimes.
Thank you as well.
It hasn't been. Thank you. And Miss Myra and I have worked on several projects together. And so she knows the process of publishing is not an easy process. There are hiccups, but I tell you, the ends will certainly justify the means.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
you
Uh-huh.
don't know about narcolepsy. I hope that this interview has been informative for you. If you have questions, Miss Myra, I'm going to ask you first. How can people connect with you? And Miss Myra, tell us, you also have some other books too. So share what you have and how people can connect with you to purchase the books you have and to also purchase, pre-order a copy of Dozing Through Life.
Well, I'm on Facebook, Myra Cook, and I'm on Instagram, Cook Myra, and my email is Myra Cook 1951 at gmail.com. And you can message me anytime because I will answer. And my latest book is uh, Finding Love After 70.
Okay. Hey now.
And no, I haven't found love. I'm not looking. But I it just come to me. But and then the other one is uh, Women of the Waiting Room, Surgery for Your Soul, the Anthology, and then Women of the Waiting Room, Volume 1. I was in that, doing that. I mean, you tell a story and you don't think you got a story because you've been telling this story for what, since 1975, and you don't think nobody still want to hear it. But, when I go to the Christian Book Lovers Retreat
Mm-hmm.
last year, and that's when Women of the Waiting Room came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that they was doing this, I took my books for just in case, and
Just
I was on this panel and was talking about my story, and it was one girl in the audience. She says, my husband is struggling with narcolepsy. He just got diagnosed and he is having problems
wow.
adjusting to that. So you just never know who you gonna run into. There's no somebody
Mm-hmm.
that's struggling with something.
Right. Exactly. I love that. Somebody said, I don't have this, Sandy 41 Der. I don't have this sleep disorder, but I'm going to sleep. I will be purchasing the book. Thank you all and good night.
Oh, good
And good
night.
night. Good
Okay, good night.
night.
Thank you.
And then Francine asked the question, should people dealing with this be driving? So Myra, Desiree, you guys can answer the question. I know that there are some people who are in the book who are part of this project. I know they drive, but that depends on some things. And so Myra or Desiree, do you want to answer that question?
It depends on the severity of your narcolepsy.
Mhm.
Before I was diagnosed, absolutely not. I shouldn't have been driving anywhere. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know when I was going to fall asleep. It would take over at any time. Now that I've been diagnosed and I have medication, I have the ability to make a decision. My medication does not cure me of narcolepsy, but it does give me the ability to make better decisions. Do I
Mhm.
Yeah.
feel like I could drive today? Can I leave the house today? Should I get behind the wheel? If I'm behind the wheel, how long should I stay behind the wheel? I know when I start to feel tired. If I've been out and I'm driving even down the street a mile and all of a sudden I start to feel sleepy, my medicine gives me the opportunity to say, you know what, it's time to pull over because now the medicine is wearing off or I'm feeling kind of sleepy, and I put my body kind of on a timer. My doctor suggests
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
time things, time my naps in the morning. Take us the nap at
Yes.
the same time, and every morning your body will get used to that. So I said, well, if this is my nap time, I'm not gonna get out here and drive right now. I'll drive as soon as I wake up. You
Mhm.
know, but yeah, everybody with narcolepsy I'm not saying with everybody with narcolepsy should be driving or should not be driving. I
Mhm.
would say it's up to the person to discover and take time to think what type
Yes.
of narcolepsy do you have? How severe is it? Should you be driving? That's a question you need to ask yourself, because a lot of people absolutely should not be driving. I'm lucky enough right now to be at the point where I can make a decision to drive or not, but it is a responsibility. Just like if you're drunk and you get behind the wheel of a car and you're drinking, you're making a conscious decision to get out there and potentially ruin somebody's life, destroy somebody's life, kill someone else, kill yourself. You don't know. So you need to, the most important thing is to make decisions, make good decisions, and if you have any doubt, don't do it. Do not.
Yeah.
And it's being responsible.
With me too, because I don't drive at all. When I found out I had narcolepsy, nope, that wasn't going. I said no, I'm not gonna get behind the wheel because I don't want to kill myself or somebody else.
Absolutely,
so the best thing for me to do is not to drive. I know how. Yes, I know how. I learned. But I made that decision. No, I am not getting behind the wheel because I don't know when I'm gonna fall asleep.
Right. And it's the same thing. That's a good question, Francine. Thank you for asking that. But it's the same thing with people who have seizures. And I know people who have seizures who are not supposed to be driving, but they drive. But then once they get diagnosed and they have medicine, it's making a responsible decision. But I like that because I've known people who have gotten into accidents because they fell asleep. And usually when there's an accident, the first thing they think, oh, that person was drinking or something. Well, they weren't drinking at all. They had some type of medical situation that caused it. So I like that question. Good answer. And basically it's all about being responsible. It's the same thing with me. If I'm in a flare and I'm in pain, should I be driving? Is the way that I physically feel going to impair my driving? And the honest answer of that is probably. So Desiree, tell people how they can get in touch with you if they want to reach you. I know that you guys have some narcolepsy Facebook groups or social media groups. How can people get in touch with you and connect with you and and pre-order the book? The book will be coming soon. We're looking at around a December-ish date. So tell them how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me through my email is Dez, DEZ Writes, WRITES, Dez Writes at outlook.com. I'm on Facebook as Desiree Williams. I'm on Instagram as Chef Desiree Moni, MONI. I'm on TikTok, same Chef Desiree Moni or Desiree Williams. But I'm pretty easy to find. All my websites are open. So, or what do they call them? The
social media
social media handles is what they call it. Yeah, those terms, I tell you, I can't remember half of them. But anyway, yes. But email is probably the best way to get to me. Des Writes at outlook.com. That way you can say, hey, I need to know what information, to pay for the book, whatever. So emailing me is probably the best thing to do.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, this has been such a great discussion. I've learned a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I have certainly learned a lot about narcolepsy and cataplexy. And so, listen, if you are going through something, if you are having some of these symptoms, if what these ladies have said sounds familiar to you and you are undiagnosed, call your doctor. Get checked, talk to somebody about it. If you're it's the holidays, so I'm going to also add, if you are struggling with depression, anxiety, I am a proponent of therapy. I suffer from PTSD myself, and there's no shame in it. I've been through a lot in my life. I've been medically traumatized. So I suffer for those reasons and others. So seek help. There is help available. Don't suffer in silence. Do not suffer in silence.
And if they don't listen, find somebody who will.
Find somebody who will. Exactly. Trust is a big thing for me. So find somebody that you can trust. So, and if there's anything that I can do, if you are having problems reaching Myra or reaching Desiree, you can always reach me. You can reach me through payprovpublishing.com. And I am on all things social media. If you can just type my name in, and there you have it. You can leave a message through the YouTube site. So I'm reachable. So if there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know. And thank you again, Desiree and Myra. And thank you to our guests who shared questions and who let us know and who said hello to support this interview. And it's been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much. I am Dr. LaQuita Parks. I am the CEO and founder of PayProV Publishing. And PayProV means pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there's no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I help people take their stories from a thought to a realization. And it is my pleasure to do so. So with that being said, guys, it has been a plump, pleasing pleasure.
Can I give a shout out real quick? I just want to shout out to Kat and Ashley and just Kat and Ashley for they couldn't be here, but
and Mindy.
I'm sorry, Kat, Ashley, and Mindy, the other authors that are part of this book. But hopefully you'll see them soon.
Yes, absolutely. And so with that being said, it has been a plump, pleasing pleasure, better than a triple-decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And until next time, have an amazing night.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.